Most people won't tell you this, but success leaves clues. And these 6 habits, they're the exact opposite of what everyone thinks they should do. Want to know why 95% of people stay stuck while others keep winning? Let me show you. What I'm about to share with you isn't just theory. These are the exact habits that took me from struggling to thriving. No fluff, no complicated strategies, just real proven habits that actually work. And the best part, you can start using them today. Habit 1, the power hour. You know what separates the successful from the average? It's not talent. It's not luck. It's what they do with that first hour of their day. Let me tell you something profound about this first hour. It's the hour that shapes all other hours. Now, most people waste this golden hour. They hit snooze, they check their phone, they start their day reacting to everybody else's life. They're letting the world program their mind before they even brush their teeth. Isn't that interesting? But the successful, they guard this hour like a precious jewel. They understand something most people don't. The first hour is where you program your mind for success. It's where you set the tone for greatness. Let me break this down for you. Success leaves clues. And one of the biggest clues is this: successful people take control of their morning before the world takes control of them. Here's what happens in that power hour, and pay close attention because this could change everything for you. First 15 minutes, you wake up and move your body. Not heavy exercise, just enough to wake up your system. Some people walk, some stretch, some do jumping jacks. The movement isn't what matters. It's sending a signal to your body and mind that it's time to win. Next 15 minutes, you feed your mind. You read something that makes you grow, not the news, not social media, something that builds your mind, the book about success, a chapter about business, something that makes you better. Next 15 minutes, you write your goals every single day. You see, most people have wishes. Successful people have goals written down. There's something magical about putting pen to paper. It moves things from your head into reality. Final 15 minutes, you plan your day. Most people start their day like a leaf in the wind, going wherever life blows them. But winners, they decide where they're going before the day even starts. Now, here's what's fascinating about this power hour. It's not really about the hour. It's about the discipline. It's about making a promise to yourself and keeping it. When you win the first battle of the day, the battle with your alarm clock, you set yourself up to win all day long. Let me share something personal with you. When I first started this habit, it was hard, really hard. My bed was too comfortable. The room was too cold. I had every excuse in the book. Sound familiar? But here's what I learned: successful people do what needs to be done whether they feel like it or not. That's what separates them from the rest. They don't base their actions on their feelings. They base their actions on their commitments. And something interesting happens when you stick to this power hour. Your life starts to change, slowly at first, then all at once. Your mind gets sharper, your goals get clearer, your actions get more focused. You start to notice opportunities you missed before. Why? Because your mind is alert, ready, programmed for success before most people even pour their first cup of coffee. Here's another thing about this power hour: compounds. Like interest in a bank account, every power hour builds on the ones before it. One good morning becomes 2. 2 become 10, 10 become 100. Before you know it, you've completely transformed your life. But let me warn you about something. People will think you're strange. When you start waking up early, when you stop watching late night TV, when you start guarding your morning time like a treasure, people won't understand. Let them. Success isn't normal, so don't expect normal people to understand your commitment to it. Now, some people say they're not morning people. I understand that, I really do. But here's the truth: you're not a morning person because you haven't decided to be one. It's not about biology, it's about decision. The power hour isn't just about morning time, it's about self-respect. It's about saying to yourself, I am important enough to have this time for my own growth. Most people never make that declaration. They give their best hours to everyone else, then wonder why they're not succeeding. Let me tell you something else about this power hour. It's not just about productivity. It's about peace. When you start your day with purpose, when you take control that first hour, something incredible happens to your mind. You develop a sense of calm, a sense of confidence. Why? Because you know you've already won. While the world was sleeping, you were growing. While others were dreaming about success, you were laying the foundation for it. Here's a challenge for you. Try this power hour for 30 days, not 29, not 25, 30 full days. Give it everything you've got. Guard that hour like your life depends on it, because in many ways it does. The first week will be hard. Your body will fight you. Your mind will make excuses. Push through it. The second week gets easier. By the third week, you'll start seeing changes. By the fourth week, you'll wonder how you ever lived without it. Remember this, the pain of discipline weighs ounces, but the pain of regret weighs tons. Every morning you have a choice: the comfort of your bed or the satisfaction of your growth. Choose wisely. And here's one last thing about the power hour. It's not just about you. As you grow, as you develop, as you become more successful, you become better equipped to help others. Your success creates ripples that affect everyone around you. So tomorrow morning, when that alarm goes off, remember this conversation. Remember that the most successful people in history guarded their morning hour. Remember that your future is being shaped by what you do in that first hour. Will you stay comfortable under those warm blankets? Or will you rise up and join the ranks of those who decided that their life, their dreams, their success was worth that one powerful hour? The choice is yours. But remember, this one habit, this 1 hour could be the difference between where you are and where you want to be. Habit 2, the 2-minute rule. Let me tell you something powerful about success. It's built in tiny moments, not in the big decisions, not in the grand gestures, but in those small 2-minute windows that most people waste. Here's what fascinates me about successful people: they don't leave small tasks for later. They have this rule, this powerful little rule that changes everything if it takes less than 2 minutes. Do it now, not later. Not tomorrow, now. You see, most people carry around a heavy mental load. They've got these tiny tasks weighing on their mind. Answer that email later, make that call tomorrow, clean that dish in a bit. And they think they're being productive by putting these things off. But let me tell you something interesting about that. Every time you postpone a 2-minute task, you're not just postponing the task, you're creating mental clutter, you're adding weight to your mind. And here's what's fascinating: it takes more energy to remember to do something later than to just do it now. Let me break this down for you, because this is important. When you see a small task, you have 3 options. First, do it now. Second, schedule it for later. Third, ignore it. Most people choose option 2 or 3. They think they're saving time, but they're actually stealing from their own future. Here's what happens when you put off small tasks. They pile up. 1 becomes 2, 2 becomes 10. Soon you're looking at a mountain of small tasks that could have been handled in minutes. And now they'll take hours. But it's not just about the time. It's about something much more valuable: your mental energy. Every postponed task sits in your mind like a tiny alarm clock, ticking away, stealing your focus from what really matters. Think about your mind like a computer. Every delayed task is like an open program running in the background. What happens to a computer with too many programs running? It slows down. Your mind works the same way. Let me share something personal with you. When I first learned this rule, I thought it was too simple, too basic. But then I started applying it, and something remarkable happened. My productivity didn't just increase, it multiplied. Why? Because I wasn't just getting more done. I was freeing up mental space. I was creating room for bigger thoughts, bigger ideas, bigger achievements. Here's what most people don't understand about success. It's not about doing extraordinary things. It's about doing ordinary things with extraordinary consistency. And that's exactly what the 2-minute rule gives you: a system for consistency. But let me warn you about something. This rule will feel uncomfortable at first. Your old habits will fight back. When you see a small task, your instinct will be to put it off. Fight that instinct, because that instinct, that's the voice of mediocrity. Now, some people say, but I don't have time for all these small tasks. Really? Let's talk about time for a moment. How much time do you spend on social media? How much time do you spend watching TV? How much time do you spend worrying about all the things you haven't done? The truth is, we all have the same 24 hours. The difference is how we use those small windows of time within those 24 hours. Successful people understand something crucial: small moments matter. Here's another powerful thing about the 2-minute rule: it builds momentum. Every small task you complete is like a tiny victory. And victories, even small ones, create confidence. Confidence creates more action. More action creates more success. Let me tell you something else about this rule. It's not really about the 2 minutes. It's about decision making. When you make quick decisions on small tasks, you're training your mind to be decisive. And in business, in life, decisiveness is priceless. Think about it this way: every time you see a small task and do it immediately, you're making a statement. You're saying, I am a person who takes action. I am a person who gets things done. I am a person who doesn't procrastinate. And here's what's fascinating about that: your self-image starts to change. You begin to see yourself as someone who takes action, someone who gets things done. And when your self-image changes, your life changes. But there's more to this rule. It's not just about tasks, it's about opportunities. Often life presents us with small windows of opportunity. A chance to make a connection, a moment to show kindness, an opportunity to learn something new. These moments, they rarely last more than 2 minutes. Most people let these moments slip away. They say, I'll do it later, but later never comes. The opportunity passes, the moment is gone, and with it, who knows what possibilities vanished. Here's another powerful aspect of this rule: it builds trust. Trust with others, yes, but more importantly, trust with yourself. Every time you do what needs to be done, when it needs to be done, you're making a deposit in your self-trust account. And let me tell you something about self-trust: it's the foundation of all success. When you trust yourself to handle the small things, you develop the confidence to tackle the big things. So here's my challenge to you for the next 7 days. Practice the 2-minute rule religiously. If it takes less than 2 minutes, do it now. No exceptions, no excuses, just action. Watch what happens to your productivity. Watch what happens to your mental clarity. Watch what happens to your confidence. But most importantly, watch what happens to your results. Remember, success is not about doing extraordinary things. It's about doing ordinary things extraordinarily well. And that's exactly what the 2-minute rule helps you achieve. The choice is yours. Will you continue to pile up those small tasks, weighing down your mind and cluttering your life? Or will you join the ranks of those who understand that success is built 2 minutes at a time? Habit 3, the growth tax. Let's talk about a principle that has the power to transform your life. A habit so simple, yet so profound, it can unlock doors you didn't even know existed. I call it the growth tax. Here's how it works. Every time you receive income, take 10% and dedicate it to learning. Not saving, not spending, learning. That 10% is for books, courses, seminars, workshops, or anything that enhances your mind and sharpens your skills. This isn't just a good idea, it's a necessity. Why? Because the world doesn't wait. It's moving fast, faster than most people realize. Technology evolves, industries shift, and opportunities pass by those who aren't prepared. If you're not growing, you're falling behind. But here's the trap most people fall into. They tell themselves, I'll invest in myself when I have extra money. Let me ask you, when is that day going to come? For most people, it never does. Life gets busy, bills pile up, and before they know it, years have gone by, and they're still in the same place, wondering why nothing has changed. That's why this habit is non-negotiable. It's not something you do when it's convenient, it's something you build into your life, just like taxes. It's automatic, it's consistent, and it's powerful. The true cost of staying still. Let's put this into perspective. Imagine a river. The water flows constantly, carrying fresh life downstream. Now imagine trying to stay still in that river. If you stop moving, the current doesn't stop for you. You're pushed back further and further away from where you want to go. Life works the same way. The moment you stop growing, you start falling behind. The skills that were valuable 5 years ago may not be relevant today. The knowledge you relied on last year might already be outdated. This is the cost of staying still. Opportunities slip through your fingers, not because you're not talented, but because you're not prepared. Growth isn't just an advantage, it's survival. And the best part? It's a choice. You don't have to wait for someone to give you permission. You can start today. Why most people don't do it. Now, here's a question worth pondering. If growth is so crucial, why don't more people prioritize it? The answer is simple. They see it as an expense instead of an investment. Think about it. How many times have you heard someone say, "I can't afford that book," or "that course is too expensive"? But then in the same breath, they'll spend twice as much on something fleeting, an extra coffee, a new gadget, a night out. It's not about having the money, it's about what you value. When you view growth as an expense, it's easy to put it off. But when you see it as an investment, everything changes. Investments pay you back, often far more than you put in. A single idea from a book could save you years of trial and error. One skill learned from a course could open doors to opportunities you never imagined. The return on investment in yourself is immeasurable, but only if you make it a priority. Power of automating your growth. Here's where the growth tax comes in. By treating your personal development as a tax, a fixed percentage of your income, you remove the decision-making process. There's no "should I invest in this" or "can I afford it?" It's automatic. That 10% might seem small, but over time it compounds. One book leads to another. One skill builds on the next. Before you know it, you've created a foundation of knowledge and expertise that sets you apart. Think about the difference this can make over a year, 5 years, or even a decade. While others are waiting for the right time to invest in themselves, you're steadily growing, evolving, and positioning yourself for success. The opportunities that come to you? Here's the beauty of consistent growth that attracts opportunities. When you invest in yourself, you don't have to chase success, it starts finding you. Why? Because the world values what's rare, and a sharp mind is one of the rarest assets. When you're constantly learning, you bring fresh ideas, innovative solutions, and a unique perspective to the table. People notice. Doors open. But this doesn't happen overnight. It's the result of steady, deliberate effort. Every book you read, every course you complete, every skill you master, it all adds up. It's like planting seeds. At first you don't see much. But with time, those seeds grow into something extraordinary. A practical approach. Now let's make this actionable. How do you implement the growth tax in your life? 1, commit to the percentage. Decide on the percentage you'll allocate to your growth. It doesn't have to be 10%. If you're just starting, it could be 5%. The key is consistency. 2, create a growth fund. Set up a separate account or budget category for your growth expenses. This keeps it organized and ensures you're not tempted to spend it elsewhere. 3, prioritize high-impact learning. Focus on resources that align with your goals. If you're building a business, invest in books on entrepreneurship. If you want to improve your communication skills, take a course on public speaking. Be intentional. 4, make it routine. Block out time for learning every day. It doesn't have to be hours minus 15 to 30 minutes, can make a significant difference over time. 5, track your progress. Keep a record of what you're learning and how it's impacting your life. This not only keeps you motivated, but also helps you refine your approach. The long-term payoff. Let me paint you a picture of what this habit can do. Imagine yourself 5 years from now. While others are stuck in the same routines, frustrated by a lack of progress, you've grown, your mind is sharper, your skills are stronger, and your confidence is unshakable. You're not just keeping up with the world, you're ahead of it. Opportunities come to you because you've positioned yourself as someone who adds value. And the best part? You've created this future through small, consistent actions. That's the power of the growth tax. It's not just about spending money on learning, it's about committing to your potential. It's about deciding that you're worth the investment no matter what. So the question is, will you make that commitment? Will you choose to grow, to learn, and to invest in yourself? The decision is yours. And the results, they're limitless. Habit 4, the empty cup principle. There's a principle so profound yet so overlooked that it has the potential to revolutionize how you think, how you create, and how you live. It's not about adding more to your day, doing more, or chasing more. In fact, it's the opposite. It's about creating space, mental space, emotional space, and spiritual space. I call it the empty cup principle. Here's the idea: if your mind is constantly full of noise, full of distractions, full of unnecessary clutter, how can you possibly make room for anything new? New ideas, new insights, new solutions? They need space to land. And if your cup is already overflowing, they have nowhere to go. Every evening I set aside 15 minutes. No phone, no TV, no distractions. Just silence. It's a simple habit, but its impact is extraordinary. Why we fear the quiet. Let's start with the question: how often do you allow yourself to be truly alone with your thoughts? For most people, the answer is rarely or never. We live in a world that's always on. Social media demands our attention. Notifications pull us in every direction. Streaming platforms offer endless entertainment. It's a constant cycle of input, 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 input. And let's be honest, it's comforting, isn't it? The noise drowns out the discomfort. It keeps us from facing the big questions, the ones that linger in the back of our minds. But here's the problem: clarity doesn't come from noise, it comes from stillness. Real, life-changing ideas don't arise when your mind is cluttered. They come in the quiet moments, the spaces in between. The power of an empty cup. Imagine this: you're starting a new project, but your workspace is a mess. Papers everywhere, old coffee cups, tools scattered across the table. How productive would you be? How much time would you waste looking for what you need, trying to focus amidst the chaos? Now imagine taking a few minutes to clear that space. Suddenly everything feels different. You can see clearly. You know where to start. The work becomes easier, even enjoyable. Your mind works the same way. When it's cluttered with the noise of daily life, it's hard to focus, hard to think, hard to create. But when you take the time to empty your cup, everything changes. You create space for clarity, for inspiration, for the kind of ideas that can change the trajectory of your life. How most people fill their cups. Let's talk about what most people do instead. They wake up and immediately grab their phone. Notifications, email, social media. The day hasn't even started and their mind is already full. Throughout the day, it's more of the same. Podcasts during the commute, music while working, Netflix in the evening, and if they have a quiet moment, they fill it with more noise. It's not that these things are bad. Entertainment, information, and connection are valuable. But when every moment is filled, there's no room for anything new. The result? People feel stuck, overwhelmed. They wonder why they're not making progress, why their creativity feels blocked, why they're always tired. Their cup is overflowing and they don't even realize it. The transformational habit. Now let's get practical. How do you implement the empty cup principle in your life? It's simpler than you think. Start with just 15 minutes each evening, that's it. Find a quiet place where you won't be disturbed. No phone, no TV, no distractions. Just sit in silence. You don't have to meditate, though you can if you'd like. You don't need a special technique or a specific posture. The goal isn't to do anything. It's simply to be. At first, it might feel uncomfortable. Your mind will wander. Thoughts will pop up. That's normal. Let them come and go. Over time, you'll notice something remarkable happening. Your mind will start to settle. The noise will fade. And in that stillness, new ideas will begin to emerge. What happens when you empty your cup? Here's the beauty of this habit. It's not just about feeling calm, though that's certainly a benefit. It's about creating space for something greater. When your mind is clear, you start to see things differently. Problems that felt overwhelming suddenly seem manageable. Connections between ideas become obvious. Inspiration strikes when you least expect it. It's like clearing a fog. The path ahead, once hidden, becomes visible. And with that clarity comes confidence. You know where you're going and how to get there. The unexpected benefits. What's fascinating is how this habit starts to ripple into other areas of your life. Your productivity improves because you're not wasting mental energy on clutter. Your relationships deepen because you're more present. Your decision-making becomes sharper because you're operating from a place of clarity instead of confusion. But perhaps the most profound benefit is this: you begin to understand yourself on a deeper level. In the quiet moments, you reconnect with who you are and what you want. That kind of insight is priceless. Why this habit matters more than ever. In today's world, this habit is more important than ever. The pace of life isn't slowing down. If anything, it's speeding up. And while technology has brought incredible opportunities, it has also brought endless distractions. If you don't take control of your mental space, the world will fill it for you. And what it fills it with won't always serve you. That's why the empty cup principle is not just a nice idea, it's a necessity. Building this habit for the long term. Like any habit, consistency is key. The first few times you try this, it might feel awkward or even unproductive. That's okay. Stick with it. The benefits will come. Here are a few tips to make it stick. 1. Set a time. Choose a specific time each day for this habit. Consistency creates momentum. 2. Create a ritual. Light a candle, sit in a favorite chair, or play soft background music. Rituals signal your brain that it's time to unwind. 3. Be patient. Don't expect earth-shattering insights every time. The real magic lies in the cumulative effect over weeks and months. 4. Embrace the discomfort. If you feel restless or distracted, that's a sign you're doing something valuable. Growth often comes with discomfort. The life-changing impact. Imagine what your life could look like a year from now if you embrace this habit. Your mind, once cluttered, is now clear and focused. Your ideas, once scattered, are now sharp and actionable. Your sense of purpose, once buried, is now front and center. The empty cup principle isn't just about finding peace in a chaotic world. It's about unlocking your potential. It's about giving yourself the mental space to create, to grow, and to thrive. So will you take 15 minutes? Will you give yourself the gift of silence? The decision is yours. But remember this: the greatest breakthroughs often come in the quietest moments. And those moments, they're waiting for you to make space for them. Habit 5, the 3 people rule. Take a moment to think about this. Who are the 3 people you spend the most time with? Your answer to this question could be one of the most important reflections of your life. Why? Because the people closest to you have a profound influence on who you are and, more importantly, who you're becoming. The habits, attitudes, and mindset of those 3 people subtly shape your own. You pick up their mannerisms, mirror their energy, and adopt their outlook on life. It's not always intentional. It happens naturally, like osmosis. And while this influence can elevate you, it can also hold you back. Here's the tough part: most people don't consciously choose their closest circle. They stick with whoever happens to be around: old friends, co-workers, neighbors. These relationships might be convenient, but are they beneficial? That's the question that matters. The influence of your circle. You've probably heard the saying, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Let's narrow it to 3, the ones who have the biggest impact on your day-to-day life. If they are driven, disciplined, and positive, their energy will push you to grow. But if they're complacent, negative, or reckless, that influence can seep into your habits as well. It's not about judging people or cutting ties abruptly. It's about being intentional with your time and recognizing the impact your environment has on you. The danger of comfort. Most people cling to comfort. They stick with the same group because it's familiar and easy. But growth doesn't happen in comfort zones. If you're the smartest, most driven, or most disciplined person in your group, you're in the wrong room. Here's a hard truth. If your circle isn't challenging you, it's limiting you. The people around you should push you to think bigger, act bolder, and aim higher. A deliberate shift. When I started paying attention to my circle, I realized I needed to make some changes. I began seeking out people who were already where I wanted to be. They weren't necessarily friends at first sometimes. They were mentors, colleagues, or even people I admired from a distance. These individuals had already won the battles I was fighting. They understood discipline, resilience, and focus. By spending time with them, I absorbed their habits. Their success rubbed off on me. Building a growth-oriented circle. Changing your circle doesn't mean abandoning everyone you know. It's about balance. You can still maintain relationships with people you care about while intentionally seeking new connections that align with your goals. Start small. Join a group, attend events, or reach out to someone you admire. The goal isn't to network for the sake of networking. It's to surround yourself with people who inspire growth. And remember, this works both ways. Be someone who lifts others up, who inspires and motivates. Relationships should be mutual. As you grow, you help others do the same. The long-term impact. Over time, you'll notice a shift not just in your actions, but in your mindset. You'll start thinking bigger, aiming higher, and achieving more. Why? Because you've aligned yourself with people who embody the qualities you aspire to. Choosing your circle is one of the most powerful habits you can adopt. It's not easy, but the rewards are immeasurable. Surround yourself with people who challenge you, and you'll be amazed at how far you can go. Habit 6, the daily score. Let's talk about a habit that has the power to turn your life around. It's simple, but it's transformative, keeping score with yourself every single day. Here's the catch. It's not about competing with others. It's not about comparing yourself to your neighbor, your coworker, or even your friends. It's about one thing: being better than you were yesterday. Why keeping score matters. Most people drift through life without measuring what truly matters. They know their favorite team's score, the latest social media trends, and what's happening in the world, but they have no idea how they're progressing in their own lives. When you start keeping score, something powerful happens. You become intentional. You start to focus on progress, no matter how small. And progress, no matter how incremental, creates momentum. How it works. I use a simple system of plus and minus. For every positive habit I practice, reading, learning, exercising, I give myself a plus. For every negative habit I fall into, procrastinating, wasting time, skipping important tasks, I give myself a minus. At the end of the day, I take a step back and look at my score. The goal is simple: end each day in the positive. It's not complicated. You don't need an app or a fancy tracking system. A notebook works just fine. What matters is the awareness it brings. A shift in mindset. When you keep score, you start to view your day differently. Instead of going through the motions, you approach each decision with intention. Should I spend an hour scrolling through social media, or should I read that book one I've been putting off? Should I skip my workout today, or should I push myself to follow through? The score gives you clarity. It turns vague aspirations into tangible actions. Competing with yourself. Here's the most important part: this habit isn't about perfection. It's not about scoring a perfect day every day. It's about progress. Some days your score will be lower than you'd like. That's okay. What matters is recognizing where you fell short and aiming to improve tomorrow. This habit isn't a race against anyone else. It's a personal challenge to grow, to learn, and to move forward. The cumulative effect. Day by day, the small wins add up. Over a week, a month, a year, you'll look back and see how far you've come. You'll see the results of your effort, your focus, and your consistency. The daily score keeps you grounded. It reminds you that success isn't built overnight. It's built in the small, consistent actions you take every day. Measuring what matters. Most people measure the wrong things. They chase accolades, approval, or superficial markers of success. But the daily score forces you to measure what truly matters: your growth, your habits, and your progress toward your goals. And when you focus on what matters, the rest takes care of itself. A habit for life. Keeping score isn't just a habit, it's a way of life. It creates a sense of accountability, not to anyone else, but to yourself. It reminds you that every day is an opportunity to improve. So start today. Grab a notebook, create your plus and minus system, and begin tracking your progress. Don't overcomplicate it. Just start. Because when you measure what matters, you improve what matters. And when you improve what matters, you transform your life. These habits, they're not complicated, they're not secret, but they work. They work for me, and they'll work for you too. The question isn't whether they work, it's whether you'll actually do them. Remember, success is never owned, it's rented. And the rent is due every day. These 6 habits, they're your rent payment. Pay it consistently and watch how your life transforms.